guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at normal videos with disturbing backstories.
Jimmy Savile. During his lifetime, DJ and TV personality Jimmy Savile was a British icon. And while his career was marked by numerous misconduct allegations, they were largely ignored or dismissed as rumors until his death in 2011.
Usually whenever it comes to people like him, you know, you only really find out about it later on, years after it happened. But it's quite crazy to think how like everyone thought he was such a nice guy, but deep down he was a freak.
After his passing, however, investigations revealed that Savile was one of Britain's most prolific sex offenders, having assaulted hundreds of people, including minors, over many decades.
Whenever you look at him, you can just tell he's that type of guy. Does that make sense? Like, do you ever look at someone and just know something's iffy about them? I don't know, it's just like whenever you look at him and now know what he done, like it makes a lot of sense because he literally looks like the type of person who do that.
During this otherwise normal segment on BBC's Top of the Pops, Savile can be seen groping an 18-year-old woman named Sylvia Edwards.
Did you tell anybody after it happened?
Yeah, I told the man that was next to the cameraman, and he just told me to get lost.
Imagine a cameraman literally telling you that, like you tell him that something happened and then he said that. Where's that cameraman now? Like, we need to interview them people. It's just sad to think that like people like him were protected. People knew he was doing it, like he looks like the type of person who'd do it, but like people just protected him.
He said, that's just Jimmy, go away.
Edwards looks to be jumping from Savile's grasp and desperately attempts to squirm away from the presenter as he addresses the camera.
It's just creepy, isn't it? Ugh. Makes you think, like how many other people got away with stuff like that? Oh, it's just weird.
Carmen Miranda drops to a knee. Known as the Brazilian bombshell, Carmen Miranda gained incredible fame in the 1930s as a samba dancer and actor. On August 4th, 1955, Miranda showed up to the Jimmy Durante show to film a performance with the host of the NBC variety show.
Okay, so I think I've actually seen this before, but I don't know what it is. Like, I've seen this clip, but I can't remember what actually happens.
The staff and cast members likely thought it was just any old workday, but Miranda was dying. After a strenuous dance, Miranda dropped to a knee and told Durante she was out of breath while holding her chest.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. I'm pretty sure she died after this. Oh god, yeah, that ain't good, isn't it? I think she was put through too much or something like that. Like, her body just couldn't take it.
She played it off like a pro, laughing with Durante and continuing on with the show. But Miranda died of a heart attack between 3 and 10 a.m. the following morning. As such, the episode actually only aired over 2 months after filming. Unfortunately, as revealed by the morning after's events, the famous dancer had clearly been in ill health, having been a heavy smoker, drinker, and regular user of amphetamines.
And that's why I don't touch stuff like that, like it's not good for you. It's quite crazy to think how she probably knew something was going on, like she knew something was weird. And yet again, it was caught on camera.
Stranded on the road. In 1986, NBC 7 San Diego ran a segment explaining what to do should viewers find themselves stranded on the highway.
It's better to be in the safety of your vehicle and spend the night than to try to walk and get assistance.
It was overseen by NBC's Rory Devine, who was on a ride-along with California Highway Patrol Officer Craig Allen Pyre.
And this man, if I am correct, was actually a killer. Like, he would literally pick people up and kill them. I feel like I've seen a lot of these videos before. Like, I'm having major deja vu right now.
In the clip, Pyre warns about predators scouring the highways.
Once you get in that other person's car, you're at their mercy.
Just 2 days earlier, Pyre himself had pulled over Kara Knott, murdered her, and tossed her body off a bridge.
And he literally said that on TV 2 days after, so that was literally fresh in his mind. Yet again, this is like so freaky because like you don't know what someone's genuinely thinking in their head. People are doing stuff like that and then going on television 48 hours later.
Scratches inflicted by Knott can be seen on Pyre's nose in the NBC footage. Following the segment, dozens of women called in and reported that the officer in the video had pulled them over and attempted to seduce them. Pyre was found guilty of Knott's murder and sentenced to life in prison.
I mean, if he's done it to one woman, he's probably done it to more, so you don't know how many other victims are out there. Yet again, this is why I don't get into a car if it's someone I don't know. Like, if I know you and I trust you, then yeah. But then, like, that's also, like, not good. I'm telling you, if it ain't my mom, my dad, or my best friend, I'm not getting into the car.
Happy birthday, sweet Marissa.
Oh my god, this man is so creepy. I always put him in my Omegle video thumbnails just because, like, he's so scary.
This video depicts an old man singing happy birthday to a woman named Marissa. Cute, right?
Happy birthday to you.
Well, maybe not so much. This man is Idaram, or Edward Muscari, and he was a YouTube sensation in the mid-2000s. Idaram was also a registered sex offender.
Yet again, you can just tell because they look like it, don't they? I mean, there's a clip where he's like sat inside in his computer and like he's just like going like that, smile at the camera. It's so freaky.
Having been arrested for sexual battery back in 1986. In the video's description, Idaram eerily describes Marissa as the one that got away, an old fling, or something far more sinister. It's unknown, but there's no denying it's creepy. Idaram's YouTube—
Oh my god, this is the thumbnail that I always use. This is just freaky. Like, he just looks like that person do that, doesn't he? Also, imagine if you like seen him like in a forest. Like, imagine you were out in a walk and you seen him. Like, that would be terrifying.
Idaram's YouTube career came to an end in 2009 after his computer was confiscated by the authorities. Idaram had failed to notify them about being a offender and was placed on probation, which he subsequently violated and was sentenced to prison for.
Okay, so it says right here that he died in prison. That was like 10 years ago. Oh my god. Yet again, I just use photos of his face in my Meagle videos because like he genuinely is so scary.
The dating game killer. Serial killer Rodney Alcala was one of the most depraved murderers in American history. He maliciously toyed with his victims, assaulted and even killed some of them. There were at least 8 victims of his crimes, although some estimates place the toll as high as 130.
130? How'd you get away with stuff like that? Like, it's crazy. If you don't know, this man basically went on to a dating game show where like they get a date and they go on a date, etc., something like that. Turns out the woman never went in the end because she got the creeps from him.
In 1978, Alcala appeared on the game show The Dating Game and won a date with bachelorette Cheryl Bradshaw.
Well, I like bananas, so I'll take one.
However, she ultimately declined to go on the date and referred to Alcala as creepy.
I mean, yeah, like he kind of does look creepy, but then back in the day, that's what people look like. But now that you know like what he done in the back of your head, you can really see that he's the type of person to do that. This is why you should always trust your gut, always trust your instinct.
Another contestant called him a very strange guy. At this point, Alcala had already murdered numerous people and would go on to kill again. He is currently serving life in California State Prison, Corcoran.
And yet again, he was on that show knowing that he'd done stuff like that. It's freaky. Could have been looking out for his next victim. And that right there is why I will never get married, get into a relationship, go on a date, or go out at night. I'm telling you, I'm just gonna sit inside and make my YouTube videos.
The Boston Marathon bomber buys milk. Security footage inside a Boston area Whole Foods shows a man dressed in black entering, buying a carton of milk, and leaving without incident.
Whenever that CCTV was put online, how do you think the people who were walking around him felt? There was literally a mother and her son. Do you reckon they knew what he was up to? Like, imagine literally being close to someone that evil. Yet again, you don't know what's going on in someone's head. Like, you don't know what they're planning.
Nothing at all out of the ordinary here. He was even buying the milk for his 2-year-old niece. How sweet. Except, this man was an extremist, and his previous actions of placing pressure cooker bombs close to the finish line of the Boston Marathon had just killed 3 people and horrifically injured another 264.
And he was just a normal man buying milk. You never expect someone who's doing something so normal to be so evil. Yet again, like, it's quite crazy how people just are not how they seem. Like, the most evil can seem the most normal.
In fact, the time between detonation and milk buying was less than half an hour. Perpetrator Dzhokhar Tsarnaev became the target of a massive manhunt, during which his fellow perpetrator and brother Tamerlan died. Dzhokhar was found 4 days after the bombing.
Yet again, I think that was 30 minutes beforehand. He knew what was going on. It's just freaky, isn't it?
The Midlothian Church murder suspect. This security footage from Creekside Church in Midlothian, Texas, shows a person in tactical gear patrolling the halls and opening various doors.
I remember I seen this clip years ago. I watched it and it freaked me out. I can't remember what happened, but basically something bad happened. And I don't know if they caught him or not. Pretty sure he's still in the run.
Without knowing the story, this 2016 footage comes across as relatively harmless. It's a little weird seeing a lone person in full tactical gear inside an empty church, but the police search and examine buildings all the time.
I mean, if I were in America and I seen like someone in full on tactical gear, I'm sorry, I would hide, I would run. Nowadays you don't even know because nutcases literally dress up and pretend to be part of the authorities when they're just not.
This person was not examining, however. They were hunting. Inside the church was fitness instructor Missy Beavers, and she was murdered, with the evidence pointing to the person in the video.
My mum just started the hoovering, so sorry if you can hear that. But I don't think they actually found out who he was, which is freaky. How can someone literally walk into something like that with loads of CCTV camera around and then just disappear? I mean, in 2016, America should have really good cameras. You should be able to track him. How can someone do something so bad and then just disappear?
Unfortunately, nothing else is known about the crime. The suspect and their motivation for killing Beavers remain a mystery.
So we never really found out, and that's what's freaky. It's like someone done that, someone knows that they done it. Have they done it again? How did they get away with it?
Jeffrey Dahmer home video. When it comes to American serial killers, it doesn't get much worse or more notorious than Jeffrey Dahmer. His very name is synonymous with serial killers, having killed and dismembered 17 people from 1978 to 1991.
And he's just sat there stroking a dog, so you'd think think, oh, that's such a normal guy's with his granny stroking a dog. But you don't actually know what he's capable of. Like, that's so freaky. I mean, you don't know there's a possibility you've passed a murderer. They're everywhere.
In this home video from the early 90s, Dahmer, who had already murdered multiple people by this point, can be seen speaking to his father and nonchalantly flipping through a magazine.
He's just acting so normal, but he's done something so bad.
Next week, starting Monday, I go back to work Sunday night.
They talk about Dahmer's weight and eating out at McDonald's, and Dahmer explains that he needs to start eating at home more often.
Been surviving mostly on McDonald's food. It's just so much easier just to pop into the restaurant. But yeah, like I said before, it gets too expensive.
Just looks like a typical Midwestern male, not the most notorious serial killer in American history.
I have to start eating at home more.
The eating at home comment is also made creepier by the fact that Dahmer cannibalized many of his later victims.
Exactly, so even in that homemade clip, you know, he's acting like an innocent man, but what he's saying is true meaning behind it. Now, if someone says something to me, I'm gonna think about it in the worst possible way. Like, what was the true meaning that they said that for? Well, anyways, guys, that's where we're gonna leave that video there. That is normal looking videos with disturbing backstories. If you want to see me make more videos like this in the future, let me know, definitely will. Hit that big red subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in my next video.